bring it back.
We'll try as best.
So our next presenters are Trond, Lekang and Morten Edvards from Nord University, Norway, and they are talking today about strategies for effective school leadership and organisational development.
So thank you very much for the presentation. I first want to introduce the map of Norway. This is Norway, and the middle part or the northern part of this map is it's North University's area. And my name is Trond, I'm a professor in pedagogy, and my colleague is associate professor Morten. So we have the North University. It's some part of it is north of the Arctic Circle also, and I live in Bodø, and he lives in Mo I Rana. So it's two towns in northern Norway or middle of Norway, as we call. So we have starting a research program. I want to tell you a little bit about it with Canadian school leaders from the Ontario district region in Canada. And we call this, the title of this presentation called Strategies for Effective School Leadership and Organizational Development. So in this presentation, we want to find and explore the effective of the school leadership strategies based on the qualitative research with 4 school leaders in Ontario district of Canada. We use also the transformational leadership theory, and we want to use it as an analytical framework to examine how the school leader foster professional learning, communities, and enhance organizational capacity. And we start with it's based on we start with Henry Mintzberg's frameworks for leadership, and Mintzberg said as leadership takes place on the intersection of art, craft, and science. The art brings ideas and integration. The craft brings or creates coherence through practical experience. And the science contributes structure through systematic analysis of knowledge. So we start with it to understand the leadership and the position of leadership on this research. And I told you about the Canopy project. Canopy it's for the Canopy project. It's the Canada-Norway education program or partnership. We have in 4 years had this project together with the Norway University and Linz University in Canada. And the main research questions in this research program, it's what experience do school leaders in Ontario have in developing leadership strategies at their own schools. So we study the schools or the school leaders in this program, and we did a qualitative study using semi-structured interviews with these 4 experienced school leaders in Canada, Ontario region, and want to analyze these through the lens of transformational leadership theory. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the theory, the background of the part that we use. This research was based on transactional leadership, transformational leadership, and relational leadership, 3 leadership program. Then transactional leadership is about how we can performance and rewards through more clear contracts, rules, expectations. It is characterized by a control or close follow-up and providing predictability, but potentially limiting development and professional autonomy. The transformational leadership is more based on inspiring, motivating these employees through shared visions and values. The leaders in this transformational leadership have to act as role models, elevating employees to optimize engagement and willingness to contribute to organizational goals. And the part of this too also relational leadership. The relational leadership is about to understand leadership as a social constructed phenomenon focus on building trust and relationship among school actors to enable learning process and mutual growth. And also I'm going to tell you about these 4 I's. It's based on BAS theory. BAS transformational leadership model provides this analytical framework for our study. These 4 elements represent how these leaders influence and through modeling behaviors, articulating expectations, challenging expectations, and providing individual support. And the 4 I's, it's the first, the lowest, on the bottom is idealized influence. So you have to lead by doing examples. The second one, inspirational motivations, when they create some shared visions. The third one is intellectual stimulation, and in this part you have to challenge staff to innovate. And then the highest part of this is individualized consideration. You got to see your employees' unique potential for them. Martin, yes, and go further.
Thank you so much. Well, if we go further to the way we look into this with the 4 I's findings, actually it was easy to discover idealized influence leading by example. A lot of leaders say that you have to walk the talk. Walking the talk leaders in trust by aligning words with actions. As a leader, you really must walk the talk. You can't just say, yes, 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 we have this in our vision. But how do we go about defining it in the everyday life? So that is the importance. And of course, the organization will very easily discover if you don't walk the opposite and actually proclaim. So that was one that we found. And the other was distributors' influence, recognizing that influence extends beyond formal leadership. Sometimes it's not a principal who has the most influence. Sometimes it's maybe a colleague. And that's also a thing that says something about their professional capacity and their as a group and a team. And the other is psychological contracts, fostering informal understandings of how we do things here through consistent behavior and mutual expectations. But these are both written, but also alive conversation in the intelligence that was of major importance. Yes, and the next is finding inspiration and motivation, creating shared vision. Collective ownership was one thing. Getting people on board is about creating a climate, culture where anyone feels they are a part of the solution. And that, of course, we can think that this is common sense in one way or another. But as we see the difference on different schools, we have interviewed during the years a lot of school leaders, and see that this is a very way how the leaders manage to foster cultures. Metaphors and as motivation. You need rain to see the rainbow. Using simple metaphors to inspire staff and students, especially during challenging times. And the next was modeling desired behavior. Leaders who maintain close relationships with staff and demonstrate commitment to development work inspire similar engagement. You are not just a leader to set them and get them started, and then you leave the room, but they can actually, as you said, the co-contributors, you are together with them all along, and you develop and you learn together, both the leaders and the employees. And that was also a finding. And there is the last on this page, building collective capacity, because this is a matter of capacity. So do this all the time, or still ongoing as internal thing. So establishing arenas where individuals and groups experience mastering, making visions meaningful and relevant. Almost people centered.
Yes.
Findings also intellectual stimulation, encouraging innovation, because one thing is to in a way have a healthy teaching, I had the leadership, but how do we develop? And do we do the expected things that we did last year, last day? That is also important. So questions, establish the practices. Please think outside the box that leaders may encourage them. It's about language, it's about dialogue, it's about empowering people. And that is also a big strategy for a leader to have, and also case-based learning, so to speak. We divide into groups and work through different cases, what we said, to develop professional flexibility and adaptability, so they can embrace these new ideas, the new thinkings, and they can use the ears. And I think that is also one thing these leaders, they manage to use a big proportion with the ears and not only the mouth, as we experience a lot of leaders. So embracing digital innovation, the pandemic required leaders to enable exploration of new solutions like digital teaching forms and online students. And there also the leader was together with them all the time. They told us that, they didn't leave them and said, okay, now we are online with things. So I think that varied a lot because we could make a comparison to how we deal with the pandemic in Norway, also throughout the country, and we could do this online, both meetings with staff, but also teaching, tutoring. So co-creation in professional communities, emphasizing participation, trust, and collaboration, problem solving to develop new approaches. And yeah, individualized consideration is also one of the eyes, addressing unique needs, recognizing individual potential that each and one of them, and we see each staff member as having unique strengths, needs, and contributions to make the school community, because that makes the sense of how you make your people feel. They are part of the organization. And the other is providing personalized support. Let me find a colleague for you. Be available at all times. Leaders act as mentors and guides, creating environments where everyone feels valued. And that is not the kind of better with leadership. But we examine and we find out together and we support and help. And also maintaining active presence, following, I think I stressed that very much earlier also, but it's about following up with employees, both professionally and emotionally as well, especially during challenging times. And then it can also be happenings with them in daily life or social life, all of these happens in communities. For example, there could be something in the group and timings are changed, etc. So and also celebrating small victories was a big part. Organizing, creating well-being initiatives and recognizing achievements to motivate and lower thresholds for development. That in Norway we used to say they have to put the flag on the table, have a little cake or a little fruit or something to celebrate that we have achievements. And that was also, and you see that these students, they were very good at it. So they did it very much. They took every victory and did it together. But digital leadership during the pandemic in Ontario, video communication, leveraging video conferencing for staff, meetings and professional development, creative well-being initiatives, they did also that. They're sending surprise packages to staff during lockdown to maintain normal connections. So they could deliver that. They couldn't meet them, but they could do something like that, keep the connection, the relation. And they had also online learning platforms supporting teachers in transitioning to digital teaching environments where they could get help with technical issues and things that they were struggling, all the black screens that they could see, no one participating, how to encourage the class to be together and participate, and maybe have little links on the screens, see more faces, not on these black screens, and also remote team building, creating virtual spaces for collaboration and maintaining. So that was the maintaining part in the relationships between both outward and inward in the organization was a critical thing, and they should demonstrate to us how they managed to. Yes, building a professional learning communities, shared values and vision, developing collective understanding of school goals and purpose, inclusive dialogues, and collaborative culture was, creating structure for meaningful collaboration among staff by dedicated only the professional exchange. That was important. So also the collective inquiry encourage staff to question, to encourage practices, explore new approaches through case studies, the other reflections, arenas was important. And also they had like, okay, the targets were clear, but they also had a quite strict focus on what will be the end product here. What will be the results? How do you ensure in this process that they gain these results? And I think, compared to Scandinavian school systems, I think we're very far off the back and strict that the goals in Scandinavian systems. We are not okay to see how this may go. They were much more, and in Australia, I've been to Australia sometimes, also several times, and more focused on the results and monitor it on the way. And much more tighter process, also feeling that we have. So focus on research, maintaining goals for student learning, support innovative approaches to achieve that. Yeah. So we have to say something about the key takeaways for students. What can we learn from this really anything new here? What is left for us? The study of Ontario school leaders offers valuable insights. This is for us in the Norwegian and Scandinavian context, I think. It's a little bit matter of fact. So there were, yes, core elements. The 4 I's of the transformational leadership provide a framework for effective school management. That is the one thing that we see. And the other is the leadership styles, balancing transformation approach. How will that create optimal conditions for growth? And also, I think work all the time and walk the talk with the shared mission, collective ownership drives sustainable organization development. So I think that was mostly what I think we have left to do. So thank you so much for listening.